All right, guys, so I stumbled across this series of very fascinating, but yet very disturbing interviews with homeless people out in San Francisco. Now, these interviews was done by Mr. Michael Shellenberger, who is the author of San Fransicko, right, which is basically a book that details how progressive policies have failed these progressive states and these progressive cities, right? Even though progressives always claim we know how to solve homelessness, right? We have the solutions to all the problems, okay? That's what they claim, right? And their solutions usually involve being soft on crime and just giving people money. That essentially summarizes the progressive ideology. Don't lock up bad people and give people money. And they think that magically everything is going to get better. Okay, that's what they believe. And again, this stuff has been tried in liberal and progressive utopias like San Francisco, and interviews like this is the result of those policies, which is rampant homelessness because of the non-enforcement of anti-camping laws, drugs, right, and drug usage, drug dealing, and people who just simply choose to live off of welfare, right? Who don't want to get a job, who just simply want to live off the state, who want to live off the taxpayer dime, because quite simply, they don't have an incentive to get a job, right? They don't have an incentive to get a house, right? Because these cities just allow them to live on the street and will pay them to live on the street, right? So this homeless guy right here, who allegedly moved from Texas to San Francisco for those very things because the progressives have incentivized them to do so, is going to detail why progressive policies are so toxic and so dangerous to this country, okay? But before I get into this, I want to say that if you guys like my channel, if you like what I do, feel free to support with the links in the descriptions below. You can support the Patreon, you can support the PayPal, you can support the merch. There are multiple ways to support me if you would like to do so. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video.
Louisiana, Texas area.
How long you been in San Francisco?
Since June. If you're gonna be homeless, it's pretty easy here. I mean, if we're gonna be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here.
When you said that San Francisco pays people to be homeless, what did you mean by that? Did you mean that literally?
Yeah, I mean, I get $620 a month, dude.
From general assistance,
yeah.
Or would you? How was that hard to get?
Phone call, bro.
Wow.
Phone call. 200 food stamps and $620 cash a month.
Wow.
Okay, so this guy is getting $600 basically UBI, okay? $600 in cash and $200 a month in food stamps, okay? And this dude said, yeah, I moved here because basically they're paying me to be here, right? These progressive cities are paying homeless guys like this guy right here to be in their cities, okay? And think about, again, all the negative ramifications and externalities that are involved in having this type of homelessness and paying these type of people to be on the streets, right? You can only imagine, and we're going to get into that, but I'm just saying, this is what happens when you pay people to not work. They won't work, okay? Now, there's some people that will work. There's some people that will go out and do more and will feel some level of security and will take more risks. There's some people who will do that. But there are also people like this guy, who quite simply just probably does not want to work at all, who just simply say, hey, you know what? I'm happy living on the streets, okay? Because the government is paying me to survive. I won't die because I can live off the government dime and just stay on the streets, and it is what it is, right? He's perfectly fine with this lifestyle, okay?
Forget about it. Why wouldn't I do it? You know, it's fucking free money, dude. This right now is literally by choice. Literally by choice. Like, why would I want to pay rent? I'm not doing shit.
Exactly. Why would you want to pay rent when you're perfectly fine living on the street in a tent and getting paid by the government to do so? Why would you get a job? What's the incentive? You have a place to live, right? Even if it's a terrible place to live, if he's satisfied with that, if he's cool with that, again, what's wrong with that, right? According to this guy, again, a grown man who is fully capable of getting a job, refusing to get a job, refusing, even during a time when wages have went up, even though, you know, inflation has basically ate up all those wages. But I'm just saying, all the progressive arguments fall apart. Well, it's because they're not paying $15 an hour. I don't know what fast food restaurant is not paying $15 an hour now. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find a fast food job or a what they call low skill job, right? That's not paying $15 an hour. Okay, I would be hard pressed to find that at this point, because these restaurants, these companies, they're desperate for workers. Okay, so they've had to increase their wages, right, to attract workers. However, this guy just don't want to work. This guy's just lazy, right? And what happens is when you're lazy and you don't want to work, and then you get the drug of free money, essentially that incentivizes you furthermore to just not work. Okay, we've seen the ramifications and the consequences of it. We're experiencing right now. Part of the reason why we have inflation is because of a shortage of workers. The reason why we have a shortage of workers and people who've dropped out of the workforce is, one, because of fear-mongering because of the virus, but two, because the government basically paid people to stay home and not work with expanded unemployment. And people, guess what? They like that. They was like, okay, I kind of like being home and not working. I like getting paid not to work. Okay? People got a little sniff of that drug of free government money, right? And people got addicted to it. So lo and behold, when there's time to go back to work, people are like, I don't want to go back to work. I'm scared of the virus. Okay? And the government's paying me not to work. And what you get from that is a lack of labor in the workforce, which is contributing to the supply chain crisis, which is contributing to the inflation crisis, right? Again, this is a result of far left liberal policies of tax and spend. That's what it's a result of. The progressives, they claim that, well, you know, it's the lack of affordable housing. Well, that's just some people that they don't want a house, period, right? They don't want to pay rent at all. If it's between paying rent and living on the streets, they be like, I'd rather live on the streets, period, okay? Because the most affordable housing in San Francisco is living on the streets, right? That's the most affordable housing in San Francisco. Nobody moves to San Francisco for affordable housing unless they're trying to live on the streets, right? These people came to San Francisco with the intent of living on the street because they've been incentivized to live on the street. So they're saying talking about no affordable housing. This man wanted affordable housing. Okay, if he really wanted a solid roof over his head, he would have stayed in Texas, Louisiana, wherever he's from, and he would have got himself a job, right? That's what he would have done if he actually really wanted affordable housing, like a real roof over his head. He don't want to pay rent, period. He don't want to pay no rent. He want to live on the streets.
Cell phone that I have Amazon Prime and Netflix on. We used to battle with
homeless person watching Amazon Prime and Netflix. Okay, this is homelessness in America. Okay, this is why, when people talk about how America is so bad, right? America is such a terrible country. I'm like, bro, we got champagne homelessness out here. Okay, our homeless are watching Netflix and Amazon Prime. There's no starving people in America. Nobody is starving in America, bro. Like that is a myth. Nobody's starving. Okay. Now, if you go and you see somebody homeless in another country, a third world country, or a country not as well off as the U.S., like I've seen, those people are actually homeless. Those people are actually sleeping on the streets. They ain't getting no government assistance. Okay. There's no food stamps, right? So again, all these progressives that want to talk about how bad America is and talking about we need to expand the social safety net, we need more welfare, we need more people dependent on the government, we got a homelessness crisis. They don't understand how good the homeless have it in America. Even the homeless here in America are better off than probably some of the average people in some of these countries around the world. Okay? That's real. That's 100% real.
With the cops, now it's like the cops are... It's like they're your neighbor, you know? The cops told us this morning, like, oh, it'd be easier if you guys packed up in the morning. We wouldn't have to come out here. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, pack up your in the morning. I'm like, why? You know? He's like, oh, okay. And then went on. His two kids came up. And
so basically, cops come out there. It's like, hey, I think you guys should leave. He's like, yeah, I kind of don't want to leave. Right? Why should I leave? Cops like, whatever. Right? So not enforcing the anti-camping laws, the laws that are supposed to be on the books to prevent people like him from just setting up a tent on the side of a street and just living there. Incredible stuff, man. Incredible stuff.
Like, hey, do you guys know where to get any Oxycontin? They're like, I'm 15 and I'm 16, you know, like, I'm an old school junkie, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah, so he's gonna detail how he basically sold drugs to kids and, you know, basically taught them how to use drugs safely. Okay, so I'm not gonna play that part for various reasons, but the point is that is what you get when you allow this type of homelessness on the streets, right? You get homeless guys like this guy not only living off the taxpayer dime, right? Your dollars and my dollars, okay? But also selling drugs to kids, okay? And teaching kids how to use drugs. That's what you get, which promotes more drug addicts and drug addiction in this country. It further fuels the crisis. Again, this is a result of far left progressive economic policies, okay? Now, this video right here from this homeless guy is really going to show you the consequences of the soft on crime policies that basically allows these guys to live off of shoplifting, okay?
Everybody, like the majority of homeless people, are that drugs is integral, if not main reason why you're out here.
And what?
So again, drugs are the main reason why homeless people are out there in San Francisco. Drugs, right? Again, progressivism.
What percentage of people on the street you say are from San Francisco originally?
From San Francisco originally, maybe 10, probably more like 6 or 7%.
How much does it cost to meet your happy?
And again, keep in mind, the Biden administration wants to hand out crack pipes, right? To encourage people to do more drugs, right? I just want y'all to keep that in mind.
They're looking at $60 a day.
Has the price come down or gone up?
It's been like a race to the bottom in terms of pricing, to where a gram, even as little as 2 years ago, would have been $200. Now it's down to 15 or 20.
How do you make your money?
Petty crime,
Like what kind of stuff?
boosting, and getting in unlocked cars.
How do you?
Yeah, so boosting is shoplifting, right? And breaking into cars. So this guy makes his living by being a career criminal, right? A career criminal, right? So this is what happens, guys. I want you guys to understand. San Francisco and the far left progressives, okay, the federal government also as well too, they pay these people to basically be homeless by giving them cash money plus food stamps, right? So they can watch Amazon Prime and Netflix, right? And live off the government dime and live off taxpayers like us. They turn around and commit crimes, okay, in order to get extra money. So they shoplift. They take from business owners. They break into cars. They take from regular people to fuel their drug habit. And then they turn around and take what they learned about drugs and teach kids, 15-year-olds, how to do drugs and sell them drugs. This is the progressive utopia. This is it. And guess what? This cycle is perpetuated by being soft on crime. When guys like this are shoplifting, breaking into cars, and they're not being prosecuted, they're not being charged, they're just being let back on the street because, hey, that's petty stuff. That's petty, according to the left. Again, it's a perpetual cycle, okay? And this is how you end up with cities like San Francisco that is currently falling apart. People are moving out of that city by the droves. The homeless have taken over. Crime has taken over. Criminals have taken over.
How do you boost?
You go in a store and put stuff in your bag and get out.
And then where do you sell it?
There's centers, like essentially one corner where everybody in the city goes to sell their shit.
Is that United Nations Plaza?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or today's the flea market. So to use, you would love the flea market. It's hella exciting. I've seen people get stabbed. I've seen people die. I've held somebody as they died.
Oh. How'd they die?
I've had friends die. They got stabbed in the neck.
People are people on the street because they want to be on the street?
Definitely addiction is the main driving force, and then after that you're in a position to where you're stuck. Like, you can't really go back. It's hard to go from, oh, okay, I'm done being homeless now, I'm gonna just turn my life around and all of that, especially with addiction to lumber. It's doable and it's possible, and I hope to do it someday. But
yeah, you just don't want to do it because the government's paying you to basically live on the streets, right? And you know that you can live a life of crime and never get prosecuted, never get charged, never do a day in jail for it because these soft on crime policies and these progressive utopias like San Francisco and LA and New York and Chicago, right? This is what you get. This is what the left wants, right? This is what they incentivize their policies. This is what they incentivize. I mean, the dudes is flat out telling you. They're flat out telling you, yeah, I'm paid to be here. Yeah, I go out here and I live a life of crime and, I break in the people's cars. I steal, I shoplift. I go down to the street, to the city center or whatever and sell it, right? Everybody does that. It's an open secret. Cops haven't busted that up. Why in the world have the cops not busted up the place where homeless people are selling stolen goods? I wonder why. It's an open secret. Dude just told a random dude on the street, right? I'm just saying. But again, I found these series of interviews to be fascinating. Again, this is from Michael Shellenberger, who is the author of San Fransicko. So if you guys want to check him out, you can do that. But again, I found these interviews to be absolutely incredible, crazy, shocking, but at the same time, not really shocking considering how, this is what the left wants. This is what they want. Okay. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.